Hello and welcome back to the channel, folks. Sorry it has been a couple of days. I know I got to show you all the battle where I got to go play sub-commanders with Sol Invictus and his group over on Discord. This was the second battle, and not only am I back playing the game in these battles, but this time I am actually representing my namesake of Carthage, and I am once again playing the role of Player 4, and in these sub-commander battles, Player 4 is essentially extra missile and spear with some option to then bring cavalry and spears as support. So player 4 is kind of an additional support player. Now, for those of you who didn't see the previous battle, you should go watch it. It was called Heir Returns, and in that battle, well, I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't watched it. Go watch it. But as far as lessons learned from that one, my team knew that we should probably bring more cavalry, so when I built this time, the rule for me as the player 4 was you have to have a minimum of 3 missiles. I brought 3 Balearic Slingers. You have to have at least a couple of spears, and so I brought 3 late Libyan hoplites. And then I also brought 3 Carthaginian cavalry and a general's bodyguard. So essentially I tried to bring as much cavalry as I could with the funds on top of the missiles, and the idea is that we do not want to be underrepresented in the mobility department because it cost us big time in the last battle. Now, I have the same teammates here, I believe. Maybe one person changed, but we're going up against, again, I believe the same team on the other side. And we're going to have the Swaby, the Seleucids, the Dacians, or Getae here, and then the Nabateans. And the Nabateans are the ones rocking the cavalry. The Seleucids are a support player, and they've brought Indian armored elephants. So we're going to have to potentially deal with the elephants on my side. My teammates are the Kush with some Shotel warriors. And then we got the Swaby as a support player. And Swaby are an absolutely excellent support faction because Germanic slingers shed 60% of incoming missile fire because of their ridiculous shield. They are really excellent standoff skirmishers, and we are very well stacked up front here with the Swaby. Swaby also have tools like Wodenaz spears, which are extraordinarily good against cavalry because of their cavalry counter tactics and the good AP damage of their spear. The big downside to them is that they are lightweight in terms of mass. I say light, not technically light, it's medium, but they can get bullied around by cavalry if they're not braced. But otherwise, Wodenaz spear are a very excellent anti-cavalry choice. As far as our main cavalry player, it's going to be Pontus, and we've got Cappadocian cavalry, Pontic Royal Cav, and then there are some mercenary Scythian horse archers out here with the horse skirmisher and a citizen cavalry. Now, it seems to be that numbers are pretty important when it comes to these sub-commanders battle. Typically, quantity is going to be better than quality because each player is limited to only 5,000 funds. So if you pick elites, you'll basically just get outnumbered. So that's why you see people less picking elites and trying to get as many units on the battlefield as possible. So this time we made the decision that we weren't going to rush forward. We're going to allow the Balearic Slingers and the Germanic Slingers to do some standoff skirmishing. We're going to try and be a little bit more patient with the cavalry fight. And then because I have additional cavalry support, we should be hopefully in good shape. Now, as far as strategy this time, what we're hoping for ultimately is that we can try and push heavy on our left flank, and then as the right flank player in that strategy, my goal is going to be to fold back, retreat, and delay. Essentially try and keep the enemy from being able to overwhelm the opposite side flank. Now here, there's going to be a bit of a charge coming in from the Cappadocians. This is risky because the Swaby are here in pretty solid numbers, but those Cappadocians are going to get a tremendous number of kills here. About 100 kills early on, and it blunts most of the charge. I see the Nabatean camel spears coming, and I was getting my Carthaginian cavalry ready to intercept these desert heavy lancers, and they are brutal. I underestimated how long it takes for slingers to retreat because this game is just different than Warhammer, and so I paid an unfortunate price here by losing a lot of slingers. But I was able to intercept and stop these desert heavy lancers, but it just shows you how brutal those lancers are. Now, immediately since my missiles are in retreat, the Seleucid player intelligently just swings his cavalry in here because there's not much to stop his cavalry, or sorry, his elephants over here. I do have a little bit of mass with my cavalry, and I have some spears, but my Balearic Slingers, although capable of stopping elephants, are in a retreating mode, and you can see him pushing through to make matters worse. So this was a really nice elephant play. Now, meanwhile, we are pushing on the enemy left flank, but again, I'm being hit hard over here, and I have to hold, even if that means somehow retreating and playing a bit of a longer game here in order to keep the enemy at bay. Now, fortunately for me, the enemy melee units over here are not extraordinarily tough, but you can see Olda, the Wolf Clan player over here, is pushing a lot of cavalry towards me, so I will get overwhelmed here very soon, and I have to buy time on this flank as best I can. My team is actually doing pretty well at kind of rolling through our left flank, the enemy right flank, and again, they're trying to do the same to me at the moment. Look at this, we got 3 Desert Heavy Lancers, or sorry, 2 Desert Heavy Lancers, no, 3 in total, and an Habitian Noble Cavalry, and I'm trying to fight them all off. It is a rough fight right now, and I see this cavalry flanking, so I started running my slingers really early back over towards these friendly units over here, and I'm hoping to pick up some support from these Wodenaz spears. So I'm basically going to take my slingers and run a long ways and try and either pull his cavalry that way or delay them longer by forcing his cavalry to get into the melee. Now look at this, these Persian light archers, I can't counter them because, again, the enemy did a really good job of pushing my slingers early, and so those archers are really messing up my cavalry. So very nice combo play there by Wolf Olda and then the Seleucid player here with those Persian light archers. However, again, on our left flank, we've got a solid push going, and the Shotel warriors of the Kush are very powerful, and they are making pretty short work of a lot of the enemy melee infantry, so that's good for us. And honestly, if we can just get late into the game with these Germanic slingers, hopefully maybe some of my slingers, and these Wodenaz spears, we should find ourselves in pretty excellent shape overall. So at this point, the enemy skirmishers are still very much alive, though. There's 3 Persian light archers and 2 Dacian heavy bowmen. And these elephants are still pushing us right now as well. So we do have some armored Shotel warriors, and the Wodenaz spears came through for me, helped save my Balearic slingers. I'm trying to get some shots in with my Balearic slingers to push more of his cavalry. And these elephants right now are a problem for us because we don't have an archer unit nearby. I thought we had a Cimbri bow unit. We do, it's right here, this Cimbri bowwomen. That's kind of our archer protection, so we're trying to keep it safe. You can see here the Swaby player doing a great job interdicting the assault here. The Desert Heavy Lancers are moving around to our rear though, and at this point I saw that, and of course was trying to communicate with the Swaby player that we're going to need his help with those Wodenaz spears, but of course he has a lot to protect at the moment. But again, things looking pretty good. We don't have a ton of cavalry left, but again, if we can keep these skirmishers, we should be in good shape because Germanic slingers are very potent late in the game. Cimbri bowwomen are able to turn around and start putting some damage into the elephants who have suffered some hit point damage. They go out of control rather quickly. And then here comes the Desert Heavy Lancers looking to charge into my Balearic slingers, so I'm going to retreat, and the Wodenaz spears are going to come flying in with the cavalry counter tactics. Unfortunately, those Lancers are going to land some hits into the Germanic slingers, which is bad. But that Lancer is also going to start hurting. It's going to try and pull through this, which it should. And I was able to still save a Balearic Slinger. So again, this is important that we try and keep some of those units alive. That Wodenaz Spear, if it catches any of those Lancers, is just going to be shredding them right now. And you can see the missile fire coming in as well. So we are able to get rid of that Lancer. But now we have 3 Bow Horsemen bearing down. So the enemy is making a very intelligent and very desperate attempt to kill off our skirmishers, and their skirmishers are alive. They're firing at us still, but the bows are going to run out of ammo sooner than our slingers will. They will do a lot of damage, but again, if we can keep our slingers alive and eliminate the remainder of their mobility, we still have a tiny bit of mobility with the Scythian horse archers. And I actually have a hoplite back here behind the lines that is becoming a surprising MVP here. They killed all of the eastern spears, and I'm now going to be able to go harass the enemy rear. I'm going to have to watch out, though, because there's a noble horse and an Indian armored elephant back here. And despite being a good, solid, heavy spear unit, the Libyan hoplites are not going to want to get charged by that stuff. So the Wodenaz Spear General is over here, so we're going to put a little bit of fire into him, try and kill the enemy Swaby commander. Some Wodenaz Spears here are holding back a Bloodsworn. Then we've still got a Wodenaz Spear General here and another Wodenaz Spear. So as far as infantry goes, we actually did end up with a decent bit of infantry left, and these Bow Horsemen are really struggling to get a line on our skirmishers. My Balearic Slingers that are alive have a lot of ammo, but typical me fashion, I'm about to make a mistake here. I brought him up too far and let him get within firing range of those Dacian heavy bowmen, and then also the Persian light archers. So this was very bad for me. I guess the fortunate side is that they're spending their ammunition on my Balearic slingers, but the smart move here would be to let the Germanic slingers tank some of this because they have much better missile block chance, and then I could have tried to hold Balearic slingers longer. But at this point, we kind of knew that if we just sit back and let our slingers tank this missile fire, that we'll win. And it's because the Germanic slingers are just so good at absorbing missile fire. The enemy will run out of ammunition before they're able to kill him. So look here, the Wodenaz Spear General gets knocked off the battlefield. And see the archers firing at the Germanic slingers? They do damage, but see how much slower it is than what happened to my Balearic slingers? And these are very competent skirmishers, by the way, on the other side. Dacian heavy bowmen are solid bows. They got decent armor. And the Persian light archers, not amazing, but for the price, they're very dangerous. They've got good range. They're not the elite damage, but they do solid damage. So again, it was looking pretty good at this point. Now, funny story back here in the back. One of the elephants died, and this is actually the Seleucid general making a charge into my late Libyans. There's a good chance my Libyans will rout due to the terror that comes from elephants. Right after the charge, though, I was able to get into a hoplite wall, and it was really unclear what was going to happen here, whether my men would rout, but we did manage to kill the Seleucid general. I haven't managed to do a whole lot else in this battle, but these late Libyans are now double chevroned, so at least I have one unit that's kind of pulling its own weight around here, because my slingers and other units, I did not do so well with them. I say that, I didn't get a ton of kills, but I did manage to hold off my flank long enough to get us into this position where it's not going to be a beautiful battle, but we do have a very good chance of winning. So look at these Germanic slingers now, trading shots back into those Dacian heavy bowmen. We'll take a look. See daggers out there, out of ammunition. So remember what I told you about the archers? The ammunition becomes a problem. They do a lot of damage quickly, but then they usually run out of ammunition. So that's the challenge for archers. And there are definitely appropriate situations for archers. Shooting into cavalry, archers are quite good at it. They have a little bit better arc of fire, so they can fire into fights that are going on a little bit more accurately. Sometimes low armor units, they're going to shred them. They're a little better versus elephants. So there's definitely reasons to bring archers, despite the fact that ammunition can be tricky with them. When they spend their ammunition well, archers can definitely pay off. So slingers aren't the end-all be-all, but the reason you see so many slingers is because at their cheap cost, they can be quite effective in the right situation. So our Germanic slingers ended up being very crucial here for our team. You can see the Dacian heavy bowmen spent their ammunition, couldn't kill them. We still have troops left, and I was at this point like praying. I was like, oh, come on, late Libyans, stay alive. Let me have one unit alive at the end of the battle so I can say I survived the battle. So I was hoping that the battle would end because army losses are kicking in, but my unit actually routed right before the battle was going to end, so the other team did manage to kill me off. But a very close battle, a tough one. Both sides had some, small victories within this. We had the I would say the ultimate victory, not in the sense that like, oh, we wiped the floor with them, no. But when I say ultimate victory, I mean we won the battle, right? But there were small battles within the battle that definitely the other team did very well with. Number one, I have to say, after playing against him twice now at this point, and we did go play another match after this too, which I'll be happy to show you. Wolf Olda is very good with the cavalry, and that's not to say that his teammates aren't good as well. They all played great. But Wolf Olda was terrifying on the other side of his cavalry. He did an extremely good job with it. And these Nabatean nobles and heavy lancers were a scourge to me the whole time, and he played very well. So kudos to him. Good job commanding that cavalry. Let's take a look at Vortigaunt's Sauce here with the Swaby. He definitely had some success with some of his cheaper units, like these Blood Swarm, but also some Berserkers here doing quite well. The Wodenaz Spear General doing well. Jawalin here with the Seleucids did very nice work with his Persian light archers. Look at that, a few chevrons there. The Indian armored elephants got a lot of kills, and they did pick up a chevron, which means that they had a good time. But fortunately, we were able to contain them before things got worse. And then the Getae here, again, pretty good work with their heavy bowmen. Two of those picking up a chevron, a bow horseman, and then their noble horse as well. So nice work by the enemy, our opponents here. I say the enemy team. They were our enemies, but our opponents. Look at this, armored Shotel warriors being the wood chipper they are. 246 kills, double chevron, 105 single chevron. Royal Kushite archers picking up a couple. So nice work by Zephyr on our side, and then Magnus, really nice work with his Swaby. Look at that, 295 kill Wodenaz spear, 95 and a chevron. I mean, just very nice work. And then look at these Germanic slingers. They got some work done. On my side, like I said, interesting enough, it was my late Libyans that did the best work for me, which is not what I would have expected. I was thinking my Balearic slingers, if anybody, was going to be some racking up some damage, but the other team, again, they did a really nice play. I was a little too slow to retreat and get ready, and so they were able to basically make my skirmishers run the entire battle. When a skirmisher is running, it's not firing. So that is a strategy that is quite valid, and in this case worked well. But in the end, I was able to deliver some value to my team, which I was happy about, because my gosh, I am rusty and I'm up against some solid players here. But that's good, right? That the competition makes you shake the rust off better. So I appreciate all the players here. Hope you all enjoyed this one. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.